So welcome, Kathy, and anybody else that might be coming to join us uh, in a few minutes or later today, or whenever you get a chance to chill out a little bit. And before we even get started, we are going to start lying down. I'll tell you what you might want to have in your space, but I just thought we just stop right now, wherever it is that you are, and don't try to have a good posture or anything like that. But it's sometimes called stopping before we start. And just take a breath in. Might be feeling some tension and let it go. A couple of breaths like that in through the nose, and the carbon dioxide can escape out through the mouth. If it feels easier to connect by placing a hand somewhere on your heart or your belly, or just let it rest in your lap, doesn't matter, but to acknowledge right now and invite some gratitude towards yourself for just showing up. Usually we do this at the end of class, but it's hard. It's hard to take time out of your day to move into some quiet and to befriend your thoughts, to allow the emotional flavor of whatever's been going on to just be here and be okay. So some gratitude for this body, this breath, this mind, all all one, all of us together. And let it go. Good. So welcome this morning. This is a restorative yoga class. So there's minimal physical effort, lots of physical sensation. The majority of the effort will be to be friendly and kind with the activity of the mind as we're moving more slowly. Those things that are present will be more clear, more loud. And who wants that? Who wants to feel maybe anxiety, some stress? We have to feel those things in order to also be able to feel the joy and the excitement and the hope. So whatever's here is good. And this is a class where having props, I've got a few things. You can bring in as many pillows as you like. I like to use one of my couch pillows as a bolster. If you have a bolster, traditional bolster, great. Then I've got a firmer pillow that I like to sit on and that can also prop up this bolster for later. Whatever you have is fine. Some softer pillows will make it work. And don't need those right now. If you have a bathrobe belt or a strap, just looking for mine, anything that you can use to help with some hip stretches a little bit later, you can have that as well. I'm going to start the class with a progressive relaxation. So we'll be lying down. I have something just underneath my hips because the ground is hard on the lower back. You're welcome to use anything else, a pillow for the head, and or underneath the thighs if that's better to have your knees bent with some lift underneath there. So go ahead and in the privacy of your own yoga space, set yourself up. I'll just give you a moment to do that so that you can be lying down, stretch out on your back before I officially start this segment of our restoring with the sound of a bell. And that's a way in, a way to open up the window to the experience of this moment now. So you can allow your attention just to rest gently on the sound or the vibration of this bell for just as long as your attention wants to rest on that. The invitation to rest the awareness in the body as it is, in the shape that you've chosen to be in, stretched out on the back with the arms by the sides, or maybe your hands are connecting with your torso in some way, whatever it is. Taking in the shape of the entire body, giving over the effort of being upright, carrying things on the shoulders, and allowing the muscles that don't need to be working to soften. And feeling some areas as you scan the body and open up to curiosity of sensations that maybe here, some tension in the face, or a body part that has been having some aches or just bothering, calling your attention. And as we slow down, maybe some particular thought chain, some hooking into a project, a loop of repetitive thoughts, some rumination on past events. We're caught up in planning what's for lunch. And it's all just fine for that to be here. Passing through like the clouds pass across the blue sky. The sky is always there, even if clouds are present, just like the mind is able to hold all of the contents of emotional waves. Space for everything to be here and be okay. We'll begin with a progressive relaxation, going through body parts and engaging and tightening, and then letting things just settle and go. Bring your awareness to your left foot and start to activate the foot, drawing the toes towards the face, and tighten the muscles all around the bones of the lower leg, the shin, and then the knee, and then the femur bone. Just hugging the muscles as best you can in towards center, engaging, and maybe lifting the leg, floating it up a centimeter or two, and just feeling all that tension just on the left side, although maybe the right side is kicking in. Take a breath in, and then just drop that leg and feel the sensations of tingling or temperature, whatever it is, softening. Then the same thing with the right leg, bringing the toes towards the face and progressively engaging, pressing out through the heel, squeezing around the ankle, shin, knee, upper thigh, squeeze, 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 and maybe the leg gets a little bit lighter. There's so much contraction going on. Muscles are firing, breathing in, and drop it. It's like a heavy stone sinking to the bottom of the pond. Just have some natural breaths in between all of that. And then make a fist with your left hand and tighten. And tighten the muscles around the forearm, the elbow, the upper arm, and squeeze and hold, and the arm can float up a little bit. Tighten, 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 squeeze, keep going. Breathe in. And then drop that arm. Make any sounds that you like. Right hand squeezes a fist. Tighten the wrist, the forearm, elbow, upper arm, all of the attention into this right arm, shoulder area. Arm is lifted a little bit. Breathing in and then drop it. So much effort releasing with the exhales, flushing it out. Bring the shoulders to the ears now. Give a squeeze. Might feel your posture in an emotional way here as well. Frankenstein. Hold and squeeze the shoulders to the ears for another breath in. And drop. Exhale all of that out. Good. Let's take the muscles of the face now, the entire oval of the face, and press the lips to the nose and squish the eyes. Might notice some colors, some sensations in the eyes as you bring everything into that pucker, sucking on a lemon. It's hard to breathe at all here when we're making this face. Good to know, and then let it go. Just let your attention rest in the entire oval of the face and sensations in the brain, creases around the eyes, between the eyebrows, slackening the jaw. And so after having gone through those exercises, notice how the body is feeling now. And let's hug the knees in towards the chest and give a squeeze. Just rock from side to side a few times, massaging across the lower sacrum. Just over to one elbow, back to center, and then over to the other elbow. Rocking across the entire back, feeling some massage across the shoulders and maybe the back of the skull as well. And then come back to center. Just keep the tailbone heavy and let the knees come apart. You can hold your shins or your knees with your hands as the weight of the heels takes the knees away a little bit from your chest, your abdomen area. So there's some space there in the hip flexor psoas. Let's take a few breaths here, right into the belly, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. This is the Ujjayi ocean breath. Like you're sipping it in through a straw and blowing some bubbles out through the nose. And see if you can allow the exhales to be even longer than the inhales. This is a way to invite calm into the nervous system. It's really simple. You might count the length of the inhale and then stretch it out a little bit on the exhale. So if you count to 3 or 4 on the inhale, and see if you can stretch it out to 5 or 6 on the exhale. Just loosely, not gripping. And then let's circle the knees a few times back in together, and then using the help of your hands to move the knees away. And then in together, and then move the knees away. One more time. Let's have the knees away and wide with the heels heavy. Hands on the inside or the outsides of the thighs. So just see what's more comfortable if we try to stretch our legs out on a wide V. And press out through the heels, wherever it is to support the hands. Some weight on the inner thighs, or if your elbows can be on the floor, you can hold your hands with hold your hamstrings, your upper thighs with your hands, kind of giving them a squeeze hug so the hips don't have to do a lot of work here, and then just circle out the ankles. Breathing in as you circle one way, and then the exhale takes the feet in the other direction. So a little bit of work here. Breathing in, circle one way, and the exhale takes it the other way. Let's do that again, one more time in each direction. Use your hands to bring the thighs back together and hug the knees in, exhale. Feet to the floor now, and have the hands on the thighs. Just press the thighs away so some space comes in the lower back and in the front hip flexor psoas, and bring the arms down beside the hips. And we'll reach the arms up and back on an inhale, keeping the spine in a neutral position. Exhale, lower the hands back down beside the hips. Let's do it together, reaching up, 2, 3, 4 to extend the arms. And then to a count of 5 on the way down, exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reaching up and back, 2, 3, 4, lengthen, pause. And then exhale, lower, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do one more, arms reach up, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale, lower, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause there. Let's press the feet now, and lower back presses down. Keep the arms beside the hips, and then inhaling, the hips are lifting, 2, 3, 4, and pause. Just the hips lowering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in at the bottom. Soften and then press the low back down on the exhale. Lift the hips as you inhale. 2, 3, 4. Feeling the weight in the shoulders as you pause at the top. Lowering down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breath in. Soften at the bottom. One more time. Just the hips, low back presses. And then the hips peel up. 2, 3, 4. And you don't have to be going with my count. Just rest at the top. Exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause, release any effort. Let's do the arms and the hips now at the same time. So low back presses on the exhale. And then arms and hips float up. Inhaling. Pause when you get there, stretching the whole front body out. And then exhale, lower down, just taking your time, rippling down, feeling the sensations of touching down. Let's do a couple more with the breath count. So low back presses. Hips and arms lift for 2, 3, 4, and pause. And then the exhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom. Relax as you inhale. Low back presses, exhale. Hips and arms lift for 2, 3, 4. Pausing. And then exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rest. Last one, low back presses. Exhale. Hips and arms lift. 2, 3, 4. Pause. And let's roll down a little slower for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale, knees squeeze just straight into the chest, tailbone long. Knees release away. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze in. Knees reach away. Inhale. Squeeze once more. Exhale. Knees reach away. Inhale. And then just the right knee is coming in. Stretch the left leg out long. Hug the right knee in and swish right and left across your ascending colon. Side, just getting a massage or doing circles there. Nothing rigid, just exploring with both hands on your shin or just one hand. Try opening up into a can opener with your right hand supporting your shin or your thigh so the knee is a little bit offside without rolling out the left hip. And let's hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Hand that knee over to your left hand and open the right arm up in a T position. Let your left hand guide your right knee to the left, just a little bit on the exhale. And then bring that knee back up on the inhale. Crawl your right fingertips away as you exhale up and over to the left. And then inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale to the left and pause. Bring out the cloth. Inhale, center, and then hug that thigh back in towards the chest for a squeeze. Bend the left knee. We'll do a few gas pedal presses of the right heel to the ceiling, breathing in. You can support behind the leg if your arms can reach there, or you can use your band. And then hug that thigh back into center. Pulse the elimination organs. All these physical movements as we inhale, stretch out the leg that facilitate rest and digest. Exhale, hug that thigh. Inhaling, stretch it out, and then hug it in for a squeeze. And then this time, let's just cross right ankle above the left knee. Just moving into this familiar figure 4 shape. It's easy to go into pattern or habit of just diving right into what's familiar. So try to back it up and just take it one step at a time, pressing the left foot to the floor and rolling open the outer right thigh with your right hand. Rocking the pelvis maybe forward and back a couple times, a few small pelvic rocks. And then if it's available, drawing the left thigh in towards the chest to thread the needle with your hands coming up, or use the band around the left hamstring. Any pain in the knee brings the left foot right back down to the ground, though, just really tuning into some of that gratitude and attention to this body and how it is this morning, rocking the hips a little over to the left and pausing for 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center. Bring the left foot down and start to walk the left foot. You're keeping your legs crossed in that position, but walk the left foot to the right. So the sole of the left foot will show itself a bit to the right side of your mat, and your knees will start to fall to the left. Your right foot might be floating in space. Try to track your right knee towards the right or towards the ceiling, more in that direction. If the right foot comes down to the floor, that's fine too. You can use your left hand to gently guide your right hip away, or the flesh on your right upper thigh, whatever you can reach to. And we'll take 3 breaths there into the psoas, right side. Just refraining from letting the low back overarch. 2. Just working on some longer exhales if that feels interesting to you or calming. And back to center with the legs. Give the right leg a few really vigorous shakes towards the ceiling. Loosening up all of the joints around the toes, the ankle, the knee, the upper thigh. Shake, shake, shake. And let that leg come down. Let's slide both legs long for a moment and just rest in Shavasana. Open to the sensations that might be different from right leg to left leg or whole right side body. The weight, the length, whatever it is. Let's have a stretch out here. Arms reach away, legs reach away. Lengthen through the sides of the body, and let's contract everything again. So make fists, hands, and draw the toes towards the face and hug the belly down. Try to breathe. And exhale, flop. Hug the thighs in towards the chest. Another knee squeeze. And then this time the left leg will stay in and the right leg will lengthen out. And it could be that the right leg needs to be bent. You can decide what feels best in your hips so that you can gently swish your left thigh across the abdomen, supporting with both hands or just the left hand there. Circles or swipes, and you can roll a little bit on the lower back. Explore the can opener shape, letting the knee come out a little extra. Now, without lifting the right hip up, so you might rest your right hand on your right thigh or bend the right knee and let it fall away from center. So we can just unclench the joint and the muscles and the attachment around that left hip for another breath in through the nose. And a little longer exhale. Slide that knee back to center, hand it over to the right hand, and stretch the left arm out away from the shoulder. Lift the left hip now as you come into that nice twist over to the right. Bring it out. And then back to center with the right knee. And then exhale, wring it out. So an active moving twist to help on this left side, the descending colon, back to center. And then one more time, wring out the sponge and center again. Inhale. Let's hug that thigh in one more time and squeeze. And then bend the right knee. Left leg to the ceiling. Support the thigh, hands or band, and then hug that thigh back in. Hamstring lengthens up. Inhaling, trying to straighten out that leg. And exhale. The sensations in the calf as you lengthen out and behind the knee a little bit, but not the attachment point up by the hip so much, the belly of the hamstring. One more time, squeeze. And then lengthen it out. And then let's cross the left ankle above the right knee and set up the figure 4 on this side. Mindfully, like we did the first side, rock out a little bit, press the thighs away and engage in the left ankle. Maybe rock forward and back, cross the pelvis so that it's a pelvic tilt. Low back presses down. And pressing in the right foot to stay there, or bringing the right thigh in towards the chest to thread the needle if the left knee is agreeable. Rocking over towards the right. And feeling some wake up call in that outer left hip from the walk this morning or the sitting at a desk. For a couple more long, paced out exhales. Giving the message from the brain along the spine to the body that it's okay to feel this. Press the right foot back to the floor and walk it over towards the left so the knees naturally fall a little towards the right. Your right foot might be hanging out in space, and that's fine. It might come to the floor. If the foot comes to the floor, press it down, press all of the toes down, and let your right hand open a little bit. A few presses along the right outer thigh, if you can reach for that area, or sorry, the left outer thigh with your right hand. So this left side of the lungs, lower lungs expanding and releasing. And back to center, breathing in to uncross that leg and start to shake it out. Left heel to the ceiling. Flick some things off. Some leftovers. And moving the fluids through the joints. One more breath up there. Floating the leg down. Lengthen out for a moment. Loose and easy in a corpse pose. Feet flop away from center to take in the left and right. Length. Weight. And then one more full body stretch out before we come up. Breathing in. And out. Let it go. So let's bend the knees and come over to either side. Rest for a moment there. Transitioning over to one side. Using the free hand in front of the chest or face to press up to sit. And so we choose to sit with a bit of height. I'll bring in my cushion. I might sit on the edge of a chair if that's better. If you're comfortable in cross-leg or any other seat that will allow us to do some work into the shoulders. Adjusting the position of the legs now so that we can have some ease in the lower back, be a little forward on the sits bones. Take in the fact that we're sitting and knowing that we're sitting. In community, in shared intention for well-being, safety, ease of breath. And then just take the right shoulder and squeeze it up towards the ear on an inhale. And exhale, lower. And then the left shoulder, squeeze it up. And exhale, lower. A few circles just on the right side. Just taking one shoulder, girdle joint, scapula, this part of the thoracic spine. Just working out any tension there, circling in both directions. Let that arm settle down, and then the left side circles, kissing the ear with the shoulder. Switching the direction. And then both shoulders circle out. Just let the arm bones be heavy and travel along small circles, bigger circles. And then reach the arms up, the entire arms coming back. Exploring the range of movement that's here this morning. Swimming that out, or hearing any of the cracks, any shape of the arms. Reaching both arms up now and lengthen out of the waist. And so in this shape, there's a bit of effort, mental, to be still. A little bit of physical effort to hold the arms up. If there's any shoulder injuries, they can be more or less out to the sides or a little bit lower. It doesn't really matter what the shape is. We're helping to make some room for digestion. So literally, we're lifting the ribs off those important organs that help with elimination. Staying on extra for 3 more of those long exhales. Exhaling for 1, 2, and 3. Let's open towards the right, taking the left arm forward and the right arm back into a twist. The limbs can come down now. And the blood flowing back down the arms as you settle into the gaze that's somewhere out towards the side for 3, 2, and 1. Float the arms up again. And then exhale, twisting over towards the left. Just let the arms drop down. They can aid by holding onto a left thigh or shin, the cushion or the floor, whatever's there behind you, looking out over to the side for another inhale. And exhale, reach the arms up. And bring the hands behind the back of the skull and take the elbows wide and maybe back a little bit there. Continuing to lengthen the ribs off of the pelvis. And then elbows towards the ears and drop the chin in towards the chest and exhale there. Slide the hands now to the tips of the shoulders. Come back with the chin level with the floor. Trace some circles on the walls on either side. Just keeping the elbows pretty wide to start with. So just little circles on the walls on either side. Maybe you might just see your elbows in your peripheral vision. And then let's go bigger. So elbows in towards each other. The back kind of presses out, the upper back, and then squeeze the elbows back. Elbows together, exhale. Inhale, lifting the center of the chest. One more time, squeeze. And open. And then release the arms away, flip the palms back. And slide the hands around behind the back to clasp the hands. The elbows can stay wide or stay bent with the arms, but squeeze together the elbows, encouraging the lower back to lengthen, the belly draws in. Or straighten out the arms there, whichever shape you're in. Stretch the eyes up towards the ceiling for 3, 2, and 1. And release the arms there. Just give the hands and fingers a shake. Flick some raindrops. Play some music. Let's come off of the lift if you had one. Adjusting your seat, maybe crossing your legs. Hands on the thighs to stir a few circles in the hips now after sitting pretty static. It's like a cat and cow, just rolling around and staying connected with the sits bones. Reaching forward through the chest, pressing the thighs away and then coming back. Inhaling through and exhale, come back. Inhale, exhale, and then change direction. Taking the breath around, those long exhales. Letting awareness of thoughts or thinking or hooking into a plan to just be there, welcome, but in the background. And then let's come back to center. Let's lean back and take the legs into a bent position, dropping the right knee and press into the right shin. And then come back to center, inhale. And then drop the knees over towards the right and press into the left shin, lifting up through the left hip. Center on the inhale, drop the knees over to the left, and this time lift up a little bit. Sitting more upright, pressing into the right shin, and the right seat is lifted. And start to wrap the entire right hip around a little bit as you look out over your left shoulder. You come down onto the left elbow if that's available. So the mermaid shape or mer person. Just letting the head dangle there over the left shoulder. The right hand or fingertips can support a little bit here. One more breath. So good for the lungs. Coming back through center. And right away on over to the other side. So I lift my seat right up to get over there. And then lifting up the hip, the ball and socket joint there on the left side and walking the right arm around. It's looking out over the right shoulder. It can stay there. Or bring both hands down and the right elbow, forearm down and look over the right shoulder for 3, 2, and 1. Come back through center. Lean back, take the legs forward and give it a drum and shake. And then sit a little forward on the edge if you have a little lift. And let's take the feet in a diamond shape. So there's quite a space between your center and your heels, lifting off of the fingertips. Lots of variations for this pose. You can be upright, or you can bring in some pillows to kind of put in under your tummy, rest your forearms and make this more of a child's pose. So just getting creative with whatever you've got there. Resting the forearms or thumbs between the eyebrows. You can put your head right down on your forearms. If you don't have any props, then no problem. I'm just letting the crown of the head track towards the feet, and we'll take 5 breaths here. Sending some oxygen and blood flow to the spine in this passive flexion for 4. Drawing the exhales out, inviting and practicing some patience for 3. No effort to try to keep up with my count or anything. 2. It's just a way of framing some time. Last breath. And exhaling to lift up. Use your hands to bring the legs back together. Lean back and loosely jiggle the flesh. Wiggle out the feet there. Let's come on to the tummy now. Bring in something, whatever you have, whether it's a rolled up blanket, or it could be a pillow. It's going to be taking this area here just at the upper rib cage when we come onto our tummy. You can try out different shapes to see what works for you. A pillow, sometimes a soft pillow just rolled up. So we can have a supported Sphinx pose. As we come down to rest, just onto that. I'm going to stretch the legs out quite long, picking one up and then the other. You'll know pretty quick if you're up too high and are feeling the low back is compressing, sharp pain or anything like that. Just lower yourself. You can walk the elbows further ahead. Try to let this be, it's intended to be little to no effort. You can hold opposite elbows, or again, rest your forehead palm with your thumbs between your eyebrows, or your whole face can be in your hands. And that's a nice something we do when we're not mindful and we're just kind of in a slouch and putting our head on the table. But in this regard, to be really just holding the beauty of this oval, the face, that part of yourself that you see in the mirror and maybe get a little bit critical about. Just holding this with some tenderness. And these are all just suggestions. You might close the eyes now. Just let your natural breath come to you. So sometimes we're leaning too far into concentration or too far back where we might fall asleep. Just allowing the breath to come and go. Noticing the beginning of the inhale and the beginning of the exhale. Or just the sensations in the body in this shape for about 5 more breath cycles. And start to drop the chin towards the chest. And press the hands beside the ribs to lift yourself up and back and into a child's pose. Knees together or apart. If it's uncomfortable to sit back towards the heels, you could have a pillow underneath your seat or that rolled up blanket, forehead resting, palm on palm or fist on fist stacking, or right on the ground with the arms resting down by the sides with the palms flipped up and the shoulders can shrug around the ears. Just curling right in on yourself, just getting into a huddle with this body, with this being, with just this moment and this breath. Mind wanders, no problem. Noticing that is the practice and starting again, just this breath. Exhaling to complete the pose and coming over and back to one side. And then finding If you have those props, a few more pillows or the bigger bolster to set up, and this may be something you remember from a class earlier this week that we did at the end. So with a pillow up by the head and then some extra ones, or the bolster that's going to be on a slant. Any other heart opening pose that you'd like that is restful. So the hips coming up against the bolster, if you have one of those, and so that the spine can lie down and be on an inclined plane with the head above the heart. The position of the legs is variable, so the knees can be together with the feet wide. Or the soles of the feet can be together with the knees wide, and you could bring cushions underneath the thighs. The strap, which we didn't actually get to doing anything official with. Another way to do this is to lasso your feet, or the tops of your feet as you come back down, and just with a gentle grip with your hands on the strap, then your fists can act as supports for the thighs, and the legs don't have to do much work, if any, to drop the knees open. So quite a bit of orchestrating to really get into the pose so that it is restful. And things like having another little support underneath the head can make a difference. It's taking the time to adjust yourself so that this is a place of ease. It's all just too complicated. The legs can just be floppy and straight out. You can be in the Shavasana shape. I'm just going to come back to a few rounds of breath with a longer exhale together. So finish the next exhale and breathing in for 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to 5. Exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling to 4. And then we'll exhale to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just allowing your natural breath to return. If your legs have been open, then let them just take a longer, more restful shape, or a straight bent knees with the feet wide is a nice way to come out of an open shape. And the last couple minutes here just to be. Sound of the bell to take us into Shavasana, and the sound of bell will take us out, and we will finish within the hour. These last few moments, just let your attention rest on the anchor that is the field of hearing. Whatever sounds are in or around your space. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of the bell. Rubbing the palms together, allowing them to rest over or just above the eyes. And bringing the eyes to blink open without all of the light just coming in. And then you can take in your surroundings, transitioning from the shape that you've been in, aware of the props, to come over to one side. Over the next little bit, just making your way to a seat so that we can seal our practice together in an upright position with the hands in the lap or thumbs at the heart center. The forehead nodding in for a second time through to offer gratitude to this body, mind, this being, for showing up. And a nod to each other as well, to this community. Enjoy your breath for the rest of the day. Maybe take a couple of those longer exhales if you can connect back to that now and then. Namaste.